Hello everybody. So today's video I'm going to be, pardon the pun, killing two birds with one stone. So in this first part I'm going to be talking about some issues that I've found that are quite alarming regarding the you will own nothing and you will be happy side of things. And then in the second part of this video I'm going to be talking about Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter and some of the things that he said and an education that he's getting regarding the far left. So first up, we'll talk about this. So this is Music Magpie. I came across this the other day mainly because of an advert that was on YouTube, and it tweaked my curiosity because I wanted to know a little bit more about it. So for those of you that are familiar with the World Economic Forum's term, you will own nothing and you will be happy, this should alarm you. This should be another warning sign about that. So what Music Magpie has proposed to do is to start renting out phones to people. You don't own the phone, you just rent it from Music Magpie. And this company is buying up a lot of phones. And this company isn't alone in doing this. There are other companies now starting to do this. They're starting to rent out people's phones. And if you're like me, the modern world, your whole life is on that little square of plastic and glass that you hold in your hand. You can do your banking from it. You can control your social media. In some circumstances, you need one for your job because you need to call in, or you have an app on your phone that allows you to do your job. Me in security, we have apps that allow us to log in and log out when we start our shift, that sort of thing. So in reality, you need that phone to live life. But we'll get to that in a bit because that's important. So what are they doing? So at the top here, you can kind of see their basic plan, what they're proposing to do. So we'll just go down a little bit and you can see it here. So low monthly payments, free annual upgrade, renew and pay at least 10% less next year, free lifetime warranty, free case and screen protector with phones, better for the environment. So how does this work? Obviously they're selling it as something good because you don't sell people the truth, do you? But there's a more sinister turn to this. So if you look at this here, this is how they want to, how does it work? 1, choose your device, select the device you would like to rent for 12 months. We'll run a quick credit check. You see where I'm going with this? Run a quick credit check to verify your application. Second point is you'll pay your first month's rent when you start your rental agreement. You can then select your preferred payment date and simply leave it as the date of purchase. 3, fast shipping, free shipping. We'll send your device free using Royal Mail's tracked 24-hour service. This is the important part though. When your agreement is nearly up, we'll contact you via email and give you the option to upgrade or renew and pay at least 10% less, or cancel and return your device. And that's the important part. You don't own the phone that you have. So at the minute, for people that are on a budget, on low incomes, and that they need a phone or a smartphone for their work, what they will normally do now is, instead of going out and buying an expensive phone straight out, most of the time they'll just get it from a phone company and they'll pay that cost over time until they've eventually paid it off with a huge tariff that they pay. The other option is people can go into a place in this country called cash converters. It's kind of like a pawn shop where people can, not, you know what I mean, pawn shop, where people go and take items, they sell them to the shop, and then if they don't come back within a certain amount of time, the shop sells them to other people. Or they can just sell their stuff outright and get a decent price and they're off on their merry way. But what happens if that suddenly goes away and the only option you now have, because you can't buy a phone anymore on the cheap, the only thing you can do, the only option open to you is to actually rent a phone. So how can that be used against you? Quite simply, if the conspiracy theory of the social credit score system comes in, well, if you've got a phone and you're saying things about the government that the establishment doesn't like, they'll just take a few points off your social credit and you lose your phone. You lose your phone, you lose your ability to work, you lose your ability to do a lot of things. You're cut off socially. So it's basically a carrot and a stick, isn't it? They dangle the carrot in front of you, and then they take the phone off you, and then they whack you with the stick. This is dangerous. This is like going cashless in a way, isn't it? More and more of your freedoms are being taken away from you. It's an attack. It's a subtle attack on private ownership, isn't it? And I was just talking about this in a comment to somebody on the latest video that I did, that, you know, our freedoms are being eroded away on a daily basis, slowly but surely, and it's in the guise of doing you a favour. This is put in the guise of actually doing you a favour. Look at this, look, you can get a phone cheaply. You don't own it, but you can get it cheaply, you can have it, and you can go about your business. But anything that you rent can be taken away from you. It's a privilege, isn't it? It can be taken away from you. You don't own it, it's not your property. So if you do something bad, we'll just take your phone off you. You don't have a phone now. Now you can't work. Do what we say, we'll give you your phone back. See what I mean? It's dangerous. This is a very dangerous step to be taken, and people need to be aware of it. So, don't rent your phones. Don't rent phones from companies like this. Buy phones. Sell your phones to other people who need them. Keep using, you know, your group things where people sell stuff on the internet. Keep using those, sell things on the cheap, and don't cave in to yet more curtails of your freedom with this type of stuff that's going off. Anyway, I just wanted to make people aware that this is starting to become a growing thing. They're buying up phones by the thousand. And the more phones that they have, less phones on the market for people to buy and own themselves without having to rent them. So just pay attention to that. So the next part of this video is going to be talking about Elon Musk, because he's having a very, he's getting educated, is Elon. Educated indeed, as we can see from this here. So Elon, this was Elon from the other day. He said, Twitter has had a massive drop in revenue due to activist groups pressuring advertisers, even though nothing has changed with content moderation. And we did everything we could to appease the activists. That sentence there says everything, doesn't it? We did everything we could to appease the activists. Extremely messed up. They're trying to destroy free speech in America. We've known that for a long time, Elon. We could, if you'd have come to us, we'd have told you about that. In fact, I think many people have told you about that. You can't appease the far left extremist activists. I said this in a tweet. Well, not a tweet. In a, what would you call it on Getter? I don't know what you call it on Getter, but I did it in a Getter message. Anyway, you give the far left an inch and they will take a mile, and they will give you nothing in return. And anybody that comes to you with a threat saying, you do this or we'll remove advertisers from you, you don't negotiate with people like that. You don't. You show them what happens when they try to threaten you. You do the exact opposite. So they want you to continue censoring people on Twitter who have a certain political ideology. Now, you came here, and in your first, you've made a very clear statement what you were prepared to do. Your statement was you wanted to create a marketplace of idea, a town square where all ideas could be heard without violence or threats or anything like that. Appeasing these people isn't doing that. You're just doing exactly what the last group of people did who were in charge of Twitter. You're doing nothing different. You're trying to appease the far left. And like I said in a video the other day, we came online, the right, I kind of class myself as centre right now, the right, we came on the internet with the understanding that we were going to have opinions that we didn't agree with on the internet, that they were going to be there. Now, instead of throwing all our toys out the pram and demanding that these people be censored because we don't agree with them, what did we do? We engaged them in debate, and they didn't like that. They called that engagement with them that we tried to do hate. and they labelled us every ism under the sun because their ideology was so weak it couldn't stand up to scrutiny. And that's why these people have to resort to threats and removing advertisers to force people like you, Elon, to do what they want. Because in the free market space of ideas, in that town square, they can't exist. They can't. They can't exist. Because the minute they come up with an argument and they put their extremist ideology out in the open to people to scrutinise, it doesn't stand up. It doesn't. This is the only way they can deal with it. And you haven't learnt your lesson, Elon. Not from this. You haven't learnt your lesson yet. You're going to get a very, very good education from these people if you try to appease them. So we'll go back and actually take a look at some other tweets of Elon's, if I can, when it loads up, that is. Right, let's go back. Right. So it's up here. So it's this one here. He still hasn't learnt his lesson. He's still trying to appease the far left extremists. Again, to be crystal clear, Twitter's strong commitment to content moderation remains absolutely unchanged. In fact, we've actually seen hateful speech at times this week decline below our prior norms, contrary to what you may read in the press. And this goes back to my video yesterday where I said hate speech doesn't exist. It doesn't. It's just free speech. What you should be doing, Elon, instead of pandering to these bedwetters, you should be tooling Twitter and enabling people to tool Twitter to what they want. So if they don't want to see content that they want to see, they don't have to. In fact, Twitter already has a block button. They already have it. So if you don't want to see what people are saying, you just block them. That's it. You can mute them. You can do all of that. But that's not enough. That's not enough for the far left extremists, Elon. They won't be happy until every single right-wing person has been removed from the platform and censored, and they dominate it. Because they believe only they have a right to say these things, to have a voice. That's the people you're dealing with. And nothing will change until you realise that. You talk to people that have had experience with these people. You say you want to create a content council with diverse opinions. Fill it full of people that have dealt with the far left, that know how they operate. You can still have some far left in there, but you need both sides of the story in order to make a site that's for free speech. And unfortunately, yet you haven't done that. And until you do, I don't care if you do give my Twitter account back, I won't be using Twitter, because the things that I want to say, I can't say on your site because it's too heavily moderated. The moderation is too nebulous for the things that I want to say, and that's not free speech. It's simply not free speech. Yeah, my opinion, Twitter is just gonna fade away and crash. It's just gonna go away as a platform. It's just not workable. It just isn't. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say on this. This is Vindicator, signing off.